Want to see more cool videos on our channel? We do, so press this bell and enable to send notifications.
Following in the solid footsteps of the greatest Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson was onto a good thing when he claimed his throne in the boxing ring. This was before he decided to go rogue and get arrested. After his stint in prison, he went on a spending spree and lost all his money. He had to file for bankruptcy. So how exactly did this heavyweight champ blow over $400 million? I'm glad you asked. Cars. Too fast, too furious. That was how Mike's fascination for cars was, speeding out of control in the 1990s. When he finished his 3-year sentence in 1991, he got into the fast lane of automobiles and wrote checks left, right and centre for both cars and motorbikes. By the mid-90s, he had bought mean machines that were worth $4.5 million. Word on the streets has it, he bought over 100 cars that decade. He was also a Bentley guy, and boy, Bentleys don't come cheap. One time, Mike and his boys went to check out a fancy dealership in Las Vegas, and Mike laid his eyes on the Bentley Azure. He fell in love. The cost was a ridiculous $320,000. That beauty was among the most expensive cars at that time. Then, guess what? He didn't just buy one, he bought 4 of them. Just like that, he used over $500,000 in a day. You'd think with his car fetish he'd have a sacred sanctuary where the rides would be polished and dolled up each morning. No. Half the time he had no idea who had what car. He often lent his vehicles from the fleet and forgot who had them. This gave his people a hard time tracking them down. Clothes. Mike was always Mr. Fashionable. Designer shoes? Check. Designer shirt? Check. Designer boxers? Check, check. Good clothes were a way of compensating for the hard knock days he spent growing up in the Bronx, where he and his mother were hardly getting by. Once the money checked in, he felt obliged to look the part. This was even when his boxing career was no longer bringing in enough money. Mike looked like $1 million head to toe. After all that sweat in the boxing ring, a man's got to clean up good. Every month he spent $100,000 on sprucing up his wardrobe with shirts and bling, spending $500 on a shirt a necessity. From his divorce court documents, it was discovered that his signature look cost $400,000 a month. Months before he declared bankruptcy, he was still living like Iron King Mike and was spotted leaving a jewelry store in Beverly Hills with a diamond and gold necklace whose price tag was approximately $170,000. Turns out they'd given it to him on credit. He was good for it until he wasn't. Good credit had gone bad fast. Miscellaneous expenses. Here I'm thinking miscellaneous is just extras on a budget. Not in Mike's world. Mike Tyson was a brand that had to be pimped out miscellaneously. The world had to know him as a baller. Other than spending money on lavish clothes and bling, Mike's everyday life was an expensive affair. In addition to spending $400K a month, he also had very expensive miscellaneous expenses list from 1995 to 1997. Here are a few items that were on that list. $9 million in legal fees, $230,000 on pages and phones, $410,000 on a birthday party. And if that wasn't enough, he was Mr. Generosity. If you were Mike's friend, he'd just give you cash for kicks. It was quite expensive being Mike Tyson. He was spending money every minute of each single day, definitely faster than he was making it. Homes. Cribs, cribs, cribs. Mike had bought homes and estates in multiple places, from Las Vegas, Ohio and Maryland. We're not talking about regular minimal homes. The homes he bought were classy and extravagant in every sense of the word. They carried the interior style of 5-star executive hotels complete with gold fittings in the bathrooms. One of them was a 21-bedroom, 24-bathroom mansion in Connecticut that was decked in gold and additionally had a nightclub and casino for exclusive entertainment. Keeping these places looking dapper was super expensive. For gardening and mowing the lawns, for instance, the bill would come to $300,000. Envy the person who is mowing that lawn? Lucrative career right there. Entourage. A superstar never walks alone. He's got to have his squad. Mike needed a sizable entourage, and their job description was to be at his beck and call. The Empire, as Mike once called it, had a staff base of 200 people, including support staff such as butlers, chefs, personal bodyguards, and chauffeurs. Other than a monthly salary, these people received benefits such as health and liability insurance. I bet you they even had year-end bonuses. Steve Fitch, better known as Crocodile, joined his entourage in 1996. His assignment was to be by Mike's side in news conferences in a signature combat uniform. For this stunt, he was rewarded handsomely with an annual salary of $300,000. With such a figure, I hope he was able to keep paparazzi out of Mike's face. For the entire team to communicate effectively, all employees had pagers and cell phones. A tally of 2 years' communication expenditure totaled $230,000. Extravagances. Party after party. That was Mike's anthem. Mike was all about the good living, and entertaining his clique was part of the deal. The man knew how to throw a good party. These were not cheap beer parties. They were parties for the rich and famous and a way to show off. On his 30th birthday, he splurged and spent over $400,000. You only turn 30 once, right? Mike is also remembered for having once bought $1 million bathtub. Back then, he was married to Robin Givens, the actress. Since he considered himself the richest man alive, he bought her a $2.2 million gold bathtub. As bathtubs go, it was not the most exquisite bathtub. It was, however, one of the most expensive ones at that time. How many carats are in a gold bathtub? That bathwater needs shiny shimmers. Legal troubles. Most of the world might already know that it takes more than a gold bathtub to keep a marriage. Mike learned that the hard way. The marriage to Robin Givens was more expensive than that bathtub. When they called it off, Robin got a settlement worth $10 million. Unlucky in love, Mike married again and divorced his second wife. Monica got $9 million. Who handled his prenup deals? He was hemorrhaging money. After leaving the courts, he soon went back when the taxman came calling after he filed for bankruptcy in 2013. He'd been evading taxes in millions. He owed taxes in UK, Georgia and Michigan to a tune of $18 million. He was knee-deep in debt, his total debt of $27 million. Mike Tyson, who had started at zero, became renowned as one of the wealthiest boxers who lost everything in just a few years. His case is not an isolated one. Many boxers have fallen victim to this rise and fall. Don't blame them, by the way. Their managers, financial advisors and promoters are the bad guys. Don King. Some enemies you don't keep close, to avoid the risk of you punching them in the face. Mike Tyson did not see eye to eye with his big shot promoter for almost 10 years. He claims that Don King was a thug who stole from him. In 1995, when Mike got out of prison, he slapped King with a lawsuit and asked for $100 million in legal damages. That war raged on for 8 years. Don King finally paid $14 million, but Mike Tyson never touched this money since it went to pay his long list of creditors. Bankruptcy whopped this guy. No boxing ring was needed. To date, the two men are sworn enemies. In 2018, when King tried to get Mike's attention during his induction into the Boxing Hall of Fame event, Mike threw a glass of water at him. Animals. Having a dog at home for a pet or several domestic cats is normal for most people. If you're a little extra, you can get a pooch or two. Mike is not most people. He's also all about going big or going home. Mike's pet will go down in history as one of the most unbelievable pets a man can own. He settled for the rare Siberian tiger and 2 of them to sweeten the deal. They cost him almost $2,000. This was nothing compared to the cost of maintaining the wild cats. Each one had to eat 40 pounds of meat daily. The trainer who was in charge of taking care of these wild animals in Mike's home compound was paid $125,000. Tigers are no fun. Anyone seen cat-tiger videos out there? Iron Mike today. The phoenix is rising from the ashes. Regardless of all the woes that Mike has faced over the years, he's never lost his self-confidence. He vows that it's the one thing that makes any man great, and no one can take that away from you, whether you're broke or not. It's been a while since his bankruptcy shenanigans. Those days are gone. With the same instinct that got him to the top, he's training hard and walking taller every day. He acknowledges his past mistakes in his autobiography and points out that he's working on himself. He seems to be focusing on the future now. Tyson's earnings now. Cheers to this guy who's lived for half a decade. He's got a bucket full of life lessons. At 50 years, Mike has managed to restructure and rebuild his life. He's even gotten into Hollywood and become an actor in a couple of acclaimed films. He gets roles that are closer to who he is and showcase his personality. Some of the big screen cameos include the franchise film Hangover, the TV series Entourage. On Animal Planet, he's been featured in an episode called Pigeon Racing. In this new age, he's doing business better and working with more astute business partners than he did in his boxing career. He has a greenery farm in Nevada, which is doing pretty well. His comeback is going to knock you out. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please let me know by clicking the like button. Do share, write a comment, and don't forget to subscribe so you can catch up my next video.